All rise. The Judicial District Court, number 13 is now in session. The Honorable Mark Denton presiding.
Good morning. Please be seated. All right. Mark Munger versus David Mahon et al.
Your Honor, Brenoch Wirthlin on behalf of full color parties, with the exception of Full Color Games Inc.
When Your Honor, Jeff Hulet, 10621.
Good morning, Your Honor. Rory K. McDonald Toronto on behalf of third-party defendants Spin Games, Kent Young, and Kunal Mishra.
David Mahon on behalf of Full Color Games Incorporated as the trustee.
All right. It's continuation of proceedings on Mr. Hulet's motion to withdraw. Hogan Hulet PLCC's motion to withdraw as counsel for Full Color Games Inc. Okay. So what's new?
You gave me 2 weeks, Your Honor, to attempt to find counsel because the Full Color Games Incorporated opposed Mr. Hulet's withdrawal. I have not found counsel. There's two very specific reasons if you'd like to hear them. I either need more time or explain to you what.
Or what?
Explain to you why I still haven't got the counsel, which affects this.
Briefly.
The first one is that the conflicts take 3 to 4 days minimum for the law firms to get back to me. And when they do, they all come back with conflicts because there's so many law firms that have represented this case. And my case is dealing with real money gaming, and pretty much everyone that's relevant to this kind of case deals with real money gaming, and they do not want to be representing this matter because they work with all the other clients, the other firms. The second part is that no one wants to touch this case because it deals with what would be the equivalent of a malpractice case that will follow it because of the failure to get this case to trial over the 5-year rule. There are 5 different reasons that are relevant to that if you wish to hear that, but once again, I'll hold my tongue unless you want to hear more.
I'm taking a look. I've got a matter coming up on Thursday.
Yes, sir, and that's part of one of the issues. That's
right.
One of the sub issues that
And I'm
there's.
taking a look. It's a motion for summary judgment that's been filed, which is being defended by Full Color Games Inc., among others, correct?
Yes, but the case that
And I note that the opposition that was filed on July 26th is on behalf of Full Color Games Inc. and you, and that Hutchison and Steffen is involved in that opposition.
yeah, there's a little bit of chaos going on there, but the thing that's really the bedrock to me underlying it is what's calendar for your September 5th, if you could look at that, Your Honor.
Okay, well, that's down the road a bit.
Yeah, but it's really relevant to this moment in time. I can give it.
Third party candidate's motion to alter or amend judgment dismissing the action. Right?
Yes, I can give you a summary of what that is, since you most likely have not had a chance to read that.
Could you speak up a bit? Can you hear him very well?
He is,
I can give you a summary of that, Your Honor, if you would like.
No, I don't need a whole summary of it. Let me hear from the moving party.
Good morning, Your Honor. I think Your Honor seeing in the docket what's correct is that I will represent to you that Hutchison and Steffen did 95% of the work in this action. I was conflicts counsel, and Hutchison and Steffen continues to do the work in this action, the majority of the work, for multiple reasons, but they're primary counsel. And the representation is happening for Full Color Games Inc. Right now on behalf of Hutchison and Steffen. For some reason, Mr. Mahon does not want them to sub in. They've indicated they're willing to sub in as counsel. But it doesn't make sense, Your Honor, because Full Color Games Inc. is represented already by Hutchison and Steffen in this separate action. And for all intents and purposes, Hutchison and Steffen has been acting as counsel for Full Color Games Inc. So for us to be required to stay in as counsel when you've heard multiple times now from Mr. Mahon about claims of malpractice, you can see the relationship is broken. We can't continue representation.
Okay, hold on just a moment. That opposition that I was referencing a few minutes ago to the motion for summary judgment that's on calendar for Thursday. Okay. It's got Hutchison and Stefan signing it via Todd W. Paul Esquire. And it states attorneys for third-party plaintiffs, Full Color Games, Inc., Intellectual Properties Holding LLC, Full Color Games NA, Inc., Jackpot Production, Inc., and David Mahon. Okay, Hutchison and Stefan is your attorney of record in this case, Mr. Mahon. Mr. Hulet is as well, but only for, not your attorney individually, but Mr. Hulet's attorney of record only for defendant and third-party plaintiff Full Color Games, Inc., as I understand it, based upon.
May I clarify that for you?
Go ahead.
Full Color Games Incorporated, I'm the majority shareholder. I'm the sole voting shareholder. The company was dissolved. I became the trustee of it. So once again, depending on the optics of the court or the law, I, as the shareholder, the alter ego of Full Color Games Incorporated, am being represented by Hogan Hulet. So when I step out of those shoes, if you recall the last hearing, and I step into the other parties, I am also the sole member of Intellectual Property Holdings. I'm the sole member of Jackpot, and so on and so forth. So what you really see is, depending on which shoe I'm in, I am the party being represented. And if I'm in the corporations, it's because I have other shareholders, or I had at the time, and I have duties to them, either through licensing agreements, which is what started the derivative shareholder lawsuit in the first place. And without getting into the facts of the case, it's like giving you answers in a vacuum, Your Honor. So I'm kind of precluded from answering that. But what you do see is that if you look at all the filings, like the one that was just filed, you will see that Mr. Hulet is correct. He is still signing as the attorney in a joinder-like fashion. So it's a very, very complex case, as you know, and it's full of an enormous amount of hyper technicalities, specifically like your ruling to dismiss the case, which brought up all the other issues that are still motions that are pending before this case. And I have a duty still to the shareholders that are still part of some of the corporations that are still in the case that are represented by Hutchison and Stefan, because I'm tied to them through the licensing yesterday, today, and tomorrow. I have an extraordinary duty to make sure that I'm dancing on this flypaper without breaking through, for lack of better metaphors, Your Honor. And this court has an enormous amount of outstanding issues, with one of the most shocking ones that's happening on Thursday with MGA, who complains that this court dismissed the case and they didn't get to oppose it, but yet they did get to oppose it. So they're saying that the case is still going, even though your order says it isn't. And then we have the motion for reconsideration coming up on the 5th of September, which there are many parties that believe there's a really likely chance that you actually reverse your ruling. And if you don't, then it's going up to the Supreme Court because of what was stated in brief. So I think the other issue is that we still have to look at the fact that it was MGA, which was the plaintiff's original law firm, which represented Mark Munger, that filed for the motion to have Hutchison Stefan disqualified as my law firm and split the baby, for lack of better metaphors. And that's how I ended up with two law firms. Now, what's interesting is that we haven't heard any opposition from MGA, who represents the motion on Thursday, which is chaos, because now all of a sudden we're now magically hearing from them and they're opposing your order of dismissing the case. And so you see, it's just a spider web of everything's intermingled. And we haven't heard from Richard Newman. We haven't heard from Newman.
Let me hear
Law.
from
We haven't heard
counsel.
from
Counsel,
Yes, Your
would you
Honor.
wish to speak to this?
Certainly, I can kind of reiterate what we talked about a little bit at the last hearing. I think I understand Mr. Mahon's concerns. Hutchison Stephan is willing to substitute in on behalf of full color parties.
Well, it hasn't, it's already in.
It's already in, right, on all the other defendants. There was that, and I wasn't involved in the case at the time, but my understanding was there was a conflict that arose due to some other issues with the criminal proceeding. Those issues, I think, have resolved. I understand Mr. Mahon's concern. And so what I think would likely happen is that we would be able to work that out and substitute in on behalf of the other entity that, you know, is the only one that's kind of the straggler out there. And I understand Mr. Mahon was looking to, you know, speak with some other attorneys and so on and so forth, and that takes some time.
But you do acknowledge the fact that your firm is attorney of record at this time for Full Color Games, Inc. and David Mahon, among other entities, correct?
I believe, Your Honor, that if that's what that signature line said, that may be a mistake that was on that signature line. Technically, Full Color Parties, Inc., my understanding is represented by Hogan Hulet because of that conflict that happened years ago. Now,
Well, the signature line for Hogan Hulet on that item is attorneys for defendant, third party plaintiff, Full Color Games, Inc.
right. And I think that's my understanding is that's the only entity of the Full Color Parties, so-called, that is represented by Hogan Hulet. The rest are represented by Hutchison Stephan.
Again, it does show, the signature line does show your firm as representing Full Color Games, Inc.
Right. And I would have to check with Mr. Paul. I
Okay.
think that must just.
All right, I'll let the moving party have the last word on the motion.
Yes, Your Honor. If you would just consider the fact that the interests of the parties are being represented already in the case. If Mr. Mahon wants to go get separate counsel for Full Color Games, Inc., we can withdraw. He'll have time to do that because there's no specific argument in these motions that are unique to Full Color Games, Inc. So the argument, the motions and oppositions and argument are all being done by Hutchison and Stephan, and they will be done by Hutchison and Stephan whether I'm counsel or not. So there's no prejudice to Mr. Mahon in having, if he needs more time, but he has already admitted to you today that he's the majority shareholder of Full Color Games, Inc. And whatever role he feels he is as trustee, he can make the decision who is counsel. And he's already indicated if it was his choice, Hutchison and Stephan would be counsel. If it was his individual choice, but he admitted he's the majority shareholder today, he can make that decision. So we feel like we're just being held hostage in it, and we would like to get out. You can imagine our position is very difficult when there's no attorney-client relation and we're still a counsel record. It's not a position that we want to remain in.
Thank you. Okay.
I'm sorry, could I offer just one possible resolution very quickly? If Mr. Hulet withdraws, would it be possible to just move the summary judgment hearing for 2 weeks to allow Mr. Mahon to explore the opportunity to either obtain other counsel or have a substitute in, if that's possible?
Is everybody here who would need to be heard from on that, continuing that?
Technically, no, MGA is not here.
Okay.
Newland's not here.
All right, so all things considered, I'm granting the motion to withdraw. Okay, and we'll proceed accordingly. Submit a proposed order, Mr. Hulet.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. I'll see you on Thursday. Thank you.